Alright, today we kickstart the 4th season of We Start Stronger campaign, courtesy of the good people at Metropolitan. We are now on day 4 of how best we start stronger. Do you understand that loss of money can lead to one of a deep emotion we all struggle with, which is grief? Now, most people struggle with the idea of losing money. Over time, you start dealing with various ways of showing depression, anger, denial, bargaining, and acceptance. Now, one of these 5, you are bound to experience these emotions or the state of turmoil. Based on how well you prepare yourself, you can overcome it. Not everybody has the strength to do so, and I couldn't find a better guest today to tackle this matter than my highly esteemed clinical psychologist and sister, Dr. Khosi Jiyane, who's here to help us unpack this problem that we deal with, because today people are taking all kinds of capsules and treatments, not accepting the reality of what they're dealing with emotionally as a result of grief. Doc, welcome to our 4th edition of Starting Strong.
Awesome. We're still strong today.
Today we need to be strong. We're dealing with a very sensitive topic that needs us to have strong mental disposition towards money. Must not, yield or capitulate to emotions that leads to depression.
Yeah.
But you are an expert in that field. My brother Raps, we've read stories, shows like I Blew It All. We've seen social media, how people, businesses exposed who now are no longer living the kind of lifestyle they portrayed, as we all saw on social media. In reality, they're dealing with grief, and then they gotta be off circuit for a while. This is true. It's happening every day in society.
It's happening every day in society, Touch, and some self-inflicted issues that people do to themselves.
Yes.
And unfortunately, some are due to fraud and fraudulent behaviors that other people might do to you. And I mean, losing your job also comes as part of that, which is part of the economy and the realities we live with.
We saw it during the pandemic, right? A lot of us had to downgrade. I was one of those people that took a couple of cars back to the dealership because you were like, we're not getting out of this thing soon. Why am I parking so many cars in the yard, and why am I still keeping things that I'm paying for, but I don't see the ROI in keeping them? But Doc, with all of that change of lifestyle, with all of that acceptance, there is a fraction of depression when you let go of things, because we idolize things, we worship material. At what point do I realize that I'm actually dealing with depression?
Okay, so depression is really further down the line. We don't just get into a depression, and I know in our everyday language, people just tend to throw this word, I'm depressed, one is suffering from depression.
Okay.
Where the way we describe depression in a clinical sense, it is a stage that you eventually get to, and it is about having lost the hope. We all know we're going to go through a roller coaster of life circumstances and emotions that come with that. But we get to depression when we have lost the hope that things will get better. What keeps us as human beings going is that sense of hope. That kusasa, tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow will be better. This too shall pass.
I like that.
Are the expressions that we use. But when we have a sense, or we have bought into the idea that this is not going to get any better, and generally people then are tend to turn on themselves and beat themselves down. And then they spiral into this darkness of depression, which we don't have to get to.
Now, we don't have to get there, I agree. Now, help me deal with the kind of right mindset I need to deal with financial grief. Tarabs?
So the first thing that I always tell people is that you are not your problem. And I love saying that.
And you're not your money.
And you are not your money. I like that too.
I like that. I'm going to tweet that.
So if you sit and wallow in that, you end up at that stage that you were talking about.
Yeah.
But recognizing that I have a problem and seeking assistance and help of a qualified financial advisor or financial planner, even going as far as seeing a psychologist, for me, that's the first step of of healing, if I can put it that way. So one has to recognize that I'm in trouble.
Yeah. But what I also like, and there's a positive part to grief, because we generally say grief is the price we pay for things that we cared for. Because generally, you can see people that become apathetic. I've spent money, I've blown it, I don't care, and that sort of thing, that sort of apathy. It means losing something that we care about, whether it's a lifestyle, aspirations, dreams that we have for a better life, for a better tomorrow.
Can be
a
somebody
human
close.
being, exactly. So that's the price we pay. We grieve through those things. And it is a necessary part of that journey. It is a necessary part of coming to terms with this sudden change that is not a positive change. It's a painful change that I now need to integrate into my reality.
Yeah.
And it is about, okay, I have to come to a point of acceptance, because you cannot change what you don't accept. Because for as long as you do that, you keep pushing it away in denial, and you will never deal with it.
I used to cut or change my diet whenever I feel like I'm dealing with grief. Because not everybody has the strength to see a clinical psychologist. You try to be self-sufficient sometimes. Is it prescribable for you to look at things like yoga, different routines, start walking? Because financial grief, at the end of the day, you might give me the right advice and everything, but I need to trigger some defense mechanism in how to deal with it.
Yeah. When we are sad, generally we kind of implode on ourselves, right? We start to isolate ourselves. It starts to have a systemic, impact on other areas of our lives.
Yeah.
We lose that sense of what we call hedonic pleasure in life. Everything starts to look gray.
What does it mean, hedonic?
Hedonic, anhedonia is loss of pleasure in life.
I like that.
So we lose that sense of pleasure in life. We then tend to isolate ourselves.
Just numb.
Yes, yeah. We isolate ourselves. It will impact on our sleeping patterns, where we just want to sleep. We want to isolate ourselves. People will close the curtains. They don't even want to see the light of day. We cut ourselves from people that are reaching out to us.
Yeah.
And so what it requires of us is to do the opposite of that. And you've spoken about exercise. And people generally think, oh, you're talking about signing up for gym and so on.
No, not
the
at all.
cheapest exercise, and yet the most effective exercise, is walking. Anybody can do that.
Apparently, you exercise every muscle in your body.
Absolutely.
by
And
walking.
you are boosting your feel-good hormones in your body.
Yeah.
You will never, and I challenge anybody who says they will come out of home feeling sad and come back feeling the same way, except what you are doing while you are walking is to just ruminate and keep playing
Doc, it
the
happened to
same
me
tape.
today. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I took a long walk with my phone. I came back with the same headache because I was on the phone the whole time.
The whole time.
Exactly.
Should
At
we
least you
stop that?
identified that.
No, I realized it's because whatever it is that I took a walk for,
It's still on your phone.
I brought it with.
Yeah.
The reason that led me to take a walk,
Yeah.
I kept on having or sustained the same emotions by keeping my phone on.
And you are no better off at the end of that walk, because what it's supposed to do is to help to improve your mood and your thought process, so that it declutters and you're able to get a different perspective, even if it means, let me call somebody and talk to somebody about that.
Now, I know by definition we understand what financial grief is, but what are the best way for you to avoid getting in that state of financial grief, even though you're dealing with financial problems?
So for you to not be in that space, or to be in that space, it means you have suffered some loss.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said earlier on, that loss can come from either investing incorrectly, or being taken for a ride, losing your job. Some of the things are beyond your control.
Yes.
So before you actually address the grief itself, you need to look at what led to that grief. Because some of the grief, the loss.
Part of dealing with the grief is understanding.
Thank you. And once you understand that touch, let's say you were in a position where you invested incorrectly.
Yeah.
Now you are in a better position to understand that I can't just take money or to a pyramid scheme. It doesn't work. No quick fixes to making me rich. So those are the little things that one has to recognize. But you can't do it alone again.
True.
You know, you need to also. There are many companies rather that deals with, or institutions that deals with it. South Africa, we have a savings institute.
Savings
Institute.
Really? I never heard about that.
That's an institute that looks at the types of savings we have. They do research on savings and investments. It's there.
Hold on. Is this for individuals? I can walk into this company and solicit some help or information?
No, not necessarily. But what I'm trying to get to is there are institutions that you can actually read, and they present information and research on stokvels, on burial societies, and those. I mean, empower yourself. Maybe that's what I'm trying to get to. Empower yourself with knowledge prior to you going out and investing money into a pyramid scheme.
We always look for quick fix in life. When you said read, right? Somebody looks at it and say, that's tedious. Because the truth of the matter is, we read with images and videos. But but people do need you got to commit to seeking the solution. Yeah. You got to commit to whatever it takes to get you out of that financial grief. Do you think ignorance plays a big role sometimes in people not being able to liberate themselves, even though Metropolitan can make million solutions available to our customers, but yet we don't utilize them purely out of ignorance? Is it fair to assume such?
So it might be twofold. It can also be the fact that people don't have the opportunities to engage with Metropolitan. And then the second part of it is ignorance, in a sense of thinking that maybe you're going to be charged to engage with Metropolitan.
Of course, that's what I think. What do you mean?
So I promise you, services of our financial advisor and financial planners are free of charge.
No. I need you to say that on camera. I don't believe this one. Services
of our financial advisors and financial
Metropolitan are free of charge.
You don't pay commission.
Did you know that?
I don't pay commission for talking to a financial advisor, or you don't pay them administration fee.
Wow.
What they do is they look at your income versus your expenses. They do a financial needs analysis and then advise you accordingly. And the truth of the matter is, my problem is not going to be the same as Touch's problem.
I hear you.
So and therein lies a problem again. Because I look at Touch and say, but why does he have such a beautiful car? And I don't, and I want it. But our problems are not the same.
I hear you.
He might not be sleeping at night, and I sleep well at night.
Dr. Khosi, last year, the year before, and the year before might have been nothing but a series of bad choices. How do I start strong with nothing but reference of failure?
Well, failure is a teacher in itself.
Yeah.
We learn as much from our successes as we should from our failures. So it is now that I have gotten to this point where I've not been successful in whatever endeavors that I've gone into. It tells me, it is information.
Right.
All it is information. It is that the choice that I made, what I said yes to, is not working. Which means I just need to go back to the drawing board. And part of going back to the drawing board says, what do I need to do differently? And maybe at that time, I thought I know what's going on.
Wow.
But maybe this information, this feedback that we call failure tells me that, no, you don't know it all.
Yeah.
Aha, so what am I going to do differently? Ask the people who know.
If you must have been in a position, Reps, for you to be in this privileged position of being a financial advisor and expert in all these challenges we deal with financially. How did you do the turnaround? At what point did you find a way to pivot when you were struck by the same challenges of financial grief?
I had to fail first. I, as young as I was in the beginning of my career, what we were told is you have to buy a car. You have to leave this life. I mean, and what happens is you end up living off of your credit cards and stuff like that. I had to go through that pain.
Yeah.
And if I didn't go through that pain, chances are I would still be in trouble.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't have changed. And I agree with you. The failure that I had helped me understand and how to navigate the life that I'm living now.
I love that.
It's not 100%, but all I know is I have information and I'm capacitated to make better decisions.
Fail forward is the name. Fail forward, not
I wish Bishop T.D. Jakes can preach that. Fail forward. I appreciate what we're sharing because these are practical ABCD tools. But make it easy for me. I'm watching this conversation. I'm sitting at home and I want to access the right tools that can best help me do the turnaround.
Yep.
Where do I start?
So the first point of call in this instance, you can just go onto Metropolitan's website. You'll find tools in that. Secondly, you can actually walk into one of over 300 branches that we have. You'll find people that are knowledgeable that will be in a position to help you nationwide. Lastly, there is nothing wrong with taking a phone and calling on Metropolitan. And we promise you we'll answer that call.
Woo, I like that. Doc, lastly, maybe let me ask for your testimony. For somebody of your cognitive energy and experience, the power of the mind is always your way to getting yourself out of any situation. But can you remember your recent tools you applied to move yourself, not necessarily out of financial grief? It could have been a life-threatening emergency. It could have been pressure with your studies. I mean, you're a doctor. It could have been a patient that you emotionally got attached to. And you're like, man, God help this person. But it's debilitating on your end. How do you get back and not get overwhelmed by the challenges of people like myself that we drop at your doorstep?
Yeah. So, I mean, in order to be an effective clinical psychologist or professional in our space, if you cannot detach yourself from your client's issues, you're of no use to your clients. Because, and the dynamic around it is about attached detachment.
Yo.
I need to be present enough.
Attached
Detachment. I need to be present
I went
enough
to church
with
today.
you in the moment, but I need to be able to extricate myself because I need to stand outside of the issues so that I offer you a perspective that you don't have. Because otherwise, if I jump in, then we are both sinking. And
My
that's
God.
the value of, that's what people pay for, the ability to stand outside and yet be with them as they go through the journey that they need to go through. It's not mine to take away from you. It's for me to give you the resources, the mental resources to be able to navigate your way out of the quagmire.
Unbelievable. It gets no better, ladies and gentlemen. I think at this point, you are well equipped to go out, make a difference in your life. Financial grief is inevitable. It's going to happen to us all. But thank God Metropolitan has tools to help us overcome what we think is a mountain of problem. It can be brought low by seeking help and going out to ensure you see people like my guest today, who I wish to thank for hanging out on our Day 4 series. Yep. Dr. Khosi Jiyane, Google her if you need help. I want to thank you for giving us your ear and watching this. Please do engage in our also socials. Listen to the Touchdown on Metro FM. Metropolitan, free of charge to help you deal with your issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much.